What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is October 1st of 2021. Well, folks, I hope y'all are having a fantastic day wherever you are, and a great start to the month. And in today's video, I want to dive into the current state of the market as we started to rebound in Bitcoin's price off of the range of support we discussed in our previous videos. And outside of that, we got to talk about some of the big news. The next wave of enterprise announcements with Visa coming out and mentioning that it's creating a new layer 2 payment rail for the broader crypto sector. So we're going to be diving into this, what it means for the altcoin space, and just get a grip of where we are within the market cycle. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into it, guys. Now, taking a look across the board here for the market over the last 24 hours or last 7 days, we can see that there's a good amount of plays here that are in upper single digit territory. The broader market, though, holding in a generally neutral trend between 1 to 2% to the upside or downside over the last 24 hours. Last 7 days, though, as the markets were going through a pretty bloody sell-off here, we've still got a good amount of plays here in the red that are starting to at least recover back into upper or lower single-digit territory. Taking a look at Bitcoin real quick, again, Bitcoin being really the driving force here. We've seen that Bitcoin's made a nice rebound here off of around the $40,000, $41,000 range. This is, again, even though a level where people were very fearful, very concerned about Bitcoin's price, we'd emphasized again that this is probably, as we were going through these last two major sell-side days on September 7th and here on September 20th, that we were likely to come down here and retest it a couple of times, because that range is, generally speaking, the only significant range of previous resistance, one of the key price levels we want to watch as we follow a strategy of naked trading in this case. And as I always say, don't worry, you don't need to be naked to naked trade. Basically, in all seriousness, what naked trading is we're just simply looking for support and resistance. We're looking at where buyers could possibly come in this case, and provide a new base for Bitcoin and vice versa. You know, as Bitcoin's starting to maybe trail up in price from this range, where could it face resistance, right? So let's just go ahead and talk about some of those levels real quick before we move on. All right, we can see here as well that 45K not only being a big even level, but it was support here and here, support back here. It's also where we really started to get exponential or severe sell-side pressure when we got down to this range, with support back here as well. So this is probably going to be a level here very soon in the near coming hours or the next couple days, where we want to clear through it with confidence. And we want to start to have that pattern of setting in, as we've talked about many times in the channel, right? Clearing through resistance, setting in those higher lows and higher highs, right? And eventually getting back above where we were here in September, and then moving on afterwards to being able to make a move into the close of the year to revisit those all-time highs. That's our general target for now. We're keeping things conservative, moderate, but passively optimistic, right? We think that the market's going to continue climbing. And I think altcoins are probably the biggest giveaway of this. Seeing how Ethereum and the broader altcoin space has been playing out when it comes to altcoin dominance. All right, we can see here that we basically revisited back to the May highs for altcoin dominance as Bitcoin has rebounded. So altcoins are still outpacing Bitcoin, broadly speaking, on a market cap basis. And outside of that as well, this past couple of weeks, we only went down from 59 or generally about 60% market dominance for altcoins down to 57.57%. I got to ask you guys candidly, do you still think we're in a bear market? Is this acting or looking any way like we did in the previous cycle, right? We're revisiting the previous relative highs here. Last time we set on a lower level, and we're at more exacerbated levels last time. These last few percentage dominance levels can really mean a lot when it comes to considering how much multiples there were in the small caps and mid caps. So everything was just going up like crazy. We're not there yet, folks. I really don't think we're there. And the other thing as well is we would see much more dramatic declines in between, right? So again, overall dominance is holding it really nice here. And I think, again, we're going to start to charter here towards the close of the year, towards revisiting those previous all-time highs in dominance. That's our next target. So what could be the catalyst to carry us forward towards a higher range of altcoin dominance and possibly lead towards just a broader, greater rally within the crypto space back to the all-time highs in valuation for Bitcoin and the altcoin space? Well, there's some major institutional news coming out, and it's coming out constantly from one of the major financial companies, which I more or less have bittersweet feelings with, which is Visa, right? So Visa is obviously the largest debit and credit card giant of the global economy, and they've been very proactive in crypto, from doing niche things like buying crypto punks or, for example, exploring different types of cryptocurrency initiatives within the crypto space as a whole. But what I really like about this, and I think this is, again, very interesting to see whether people are going to utilize the network or not, it showcases here that enterprise companies are getting into the game for providing solutions that the crypto space needs. And one of them that's going to be a very important discussion is central banks are ramping up discussion about it, but also private companies. When we had Facebook with Libra and the Libra Association, Visa is now aiming to build its own layer 2 payment rail to focus not only on providing the ability for people to have cheap, frictionless payments in stable coins, putting on edge possibly a solution where they're trying to compete with the central banks, as well as any other type of counterparties. But outside of that, they're also a company that has been well delved into the cryptocurrency space. And I think that the solution, from my understanding, is not just going to be servicing stablecoins, but interoperability, so that if I want to, for example, send someone Bitcoin in this case, right, they'd be able to utilize technologies like time lock contracts where I'm not only able to pay in Bitcoin, but maybe on the other end, someone could receive a different type of crypto, or maybe we're making an exchange of some sort, right? So there's all types of different, potential that could go on with this. And Visa is pretty well poised between the range of crypto partnerships that they have in regards to debit cards and existing companies that they work with in their network to put themselves in a good position to possibly come out on top in this. So it's very interesting. Now, look, overall, in this case, I have my skepticisms about Visa, and we've tried to see large companies do this before. The regulators don't always take too kind to it, especially, I would say, central banks in this case, who are trying to put forward their narrative of creating the network for central bank digital currencies for US dollars. And that's something, again, that Jerome Powell was just recently championing in a recent, I think it was a testament to Congress in this case, where he's speaking before Congress. Right. So there's a war going on, because whoever builds this network is going to have a lot of control over how the global economy works. So again, I don't know if this is going to work out, but it does signal an important discussion and something that's more relevant to us as investors in the crypto space. And that's focusing on emerging layer 2 solutions, right? Layer 2 solutions and sidechain solutions out there that can help to scale layer 1s like Ethereum that have garnered a lot of traction. Well, I want to talk actually about one of our plays that we did in the Dash report back a couple months ago in March. We built a heavy position inside OMG Network, or I may say Go, previously known as, right? And the really great thing is that OMG was a recommendation we made back here around March in this case. We built a position a little bit under, I think, what's probably around 10,000 sats in this case. If I'm getting my math wrong, sometimes I miscalculate. Yeah, it's about 10,000 sats. And now we're nearing about 3,000 sats on the play, nearly a 3x here for OMG Network, as they've announced the Boba Network. This is their layer 2 implementation of optimistic rollups. And again, we look for these nice technical plays that are going sideways, that are going to start accumulating. And it takes some time, but luckily here, we're well beyond where it was previously against Bitcoin. And in dollar value here, even after the May correction, I think we entered here around about $5. We're now tailoring towards $13, almost towards an official 3x in dollar terms. So these are the kind of plays that we cover within the Dash report. We try to spot these trends early on. Back then, Matic or Polygon was really all the rave in this case. Prices were really high. And again, we were kind of building positions in more of the conservative plays here in this case. So again, overall, we're really excited. We love the long-term technical setup here for OMG. We got in nice and early, and we're going to continue to let this one ride, as this has been a long-standing play with a lot of token holders across the board holding OMG. It's one of the most, I think, widely held tokens in the crypto space. So that's a really interesting kind of opportunity here. The network effect that Boba could see, and outside of that, the long-standing knowledge of the project in this case, and the amount of people who are already participants in the ecosystem and long-term holders. So that to me is really exciting on a supply-demand perspective, and outside of that as well, I'm really interested to see other layer 2s start to flourish. If you guys are interested though in getting these kind of insights on what I'm buying in the market, what I think is interesting outside of what we cover here on the channel for free, we also have the Dash report. So if you guys want, we are going to drop the latest edition here today. So if you guys want, you guys can check out the link down below in the description. It's a great way to get a macro perspective on everything that I cover, not just here on the channel, but even in some markets that I don't hit on as much on the channel here, such as equities, commodities, Forex, you name it. So we really try to do across the board analysis on the market and cover all the macro events. But I know some people might be wondering in this case whether it's OMC Go or I keep saying OMC Go, but really it's OMG Network. Whether we're talking about one-off altcoin plays or altcoin dominance, a lot of people are asking me like, Nick, like how can you be so confident that altcoins are still going to charter higher in this case? How do you know that we're still kind of only midway through on the overall altcoin move out at the moment? Well, I can showcase here. It's a really great tool that we've talked about here on the channel. It's on blockchaincenter.net, and it's the Altcoin Season Index. So what does the Altcoin Season Index tell us? Well, it tells us in this case, out of the top 50 altcoins, what percentage of those top 50 altcoins are outpacing Bitcoin over the last 90 days. All right. So you're taking basically a 90-day weighted average in this case of whether or not Bitcoin is higher in this case in performance or the top 50 altcoins. So you can see down here, before we dive into the graph, there are a lot of plays in this case. Axie Infinity, I think in this case, Bitcoin Cash, Luna, AVAX, FTM or Phantom, all these different plays, Solana, Quant Network, Near, Atom, I think that's Elrond, XTZ or Tezos, DOT. There's so many different tokens here that are outpacing Bitcoin, a pretty large weight of the market here. And we can see that there are a few exceptions that are really just slightly behind Bitcoin, or some that are in the red like Doge or Theta. Right? So as we start to see more and more plays outpacing Bitcoin over a 90-day time frame, the altcoin index here, which again we were talking about back here as a buy sign in this case back in July when we dipped below the 25-point mark. This is, even though it's Bitcoin season, that's the time to actually buy into altcoins because it's at a discount, right? Not saying you guys should go FOMO in and you should FUD out in this case when we get to this range, but it's generally a cue that like, hey, we're getting ready for a cyclical rotation from one part of the crypto space to the other, right? So really cutting out the day-to-day noise, we were able to see that there was a good discount opportunity for altcoins, and now they've started to begin outpacing Bitcoin, generally speaking. So when we get into this altcoin, season range here, we can see, just like it was back in March and April, it's still a time where you want to stay in the altcoin space. There's still probably some froth and ability to make some returns in the market, but you want to have in the back of your mind a rotation strategy, a way to get out. If you're more of an active trader, if you're a long-term investor, it's more about waiting for the cycle top and riding the waves. But I would say in this case, once we start getting up towards around the 90-point range on the index, that's where we would start taking profits off the table on a recurring basis. And we'll start to cycle back into Bitcoin probably as we expect the revisit to the all-time highs, which will lead Bitcoin going higher and altcoin dominance dropping lower. And what's great too is that takes us right back to where we were over a year long and holding a lot of our positions that we built back in November in this case. So in that case, we get better tax benefits in realizing long-term capital gains versus short-term capital gains. That's just at least in the US. So anyways, guys, I really recommend you guys focus on this more macro perspective. And again, if you guys are interested, we offer that in the Dash report, but also here in the channel as well in many regards. That being said, guys, if you liked the video, consider dropping a like, consider subscribing, and leave a comment down below about what your thoughts are about what we covered today. Are you guys excited not only about the Visa news, but just about the broader wave of layer 2s making layer 1 protocols like Ethereum more usable for everyday people, whether it's optimistic rollups or side chains like Polygon? I'm really interested to get your guys' thoughts on that and just get the conversation going. But until the next video, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care, everyone.